What if the thing you've been calling your worst phase is actually the exact reason you're about to win? Stop looking at your life like it's a series of unfortunate events and start looking at it like a high-stakes training simulation. Right now, you might feel like you're drowning, like everything you've built is crumbling, or like the universe has a personal vendetta against your happiness. But what if your life isn't falling apart? What if it's actually falling into place? Most people spend their entire lives running away from discomfort, praying for a smooth path, and treating every setback like a tragedy. They adopt the victim narrative because it's easy and it's comfortable. But that narrative is a trap. This isn't about some toxic positivity where I tell you to just smile while your world is on fire. That's useless. This is about pattern recognition. It's about understanding that the crushing pressure you're feeling right now isn't there to break you. It's there to forge you. You are being upgraded in real time. Your struggle isn't a misfortune. It is a prerequisite for the version of you that is supposed to exist 6 months from now. If you're in pain, it means you're finally being forced to grow the specific psychological muscles required for your next level of success. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Think about every iconic figure who has ever walked this earth. We look at the legends of history, the titans of industry, and the heroes of our oldest stories, and we envy their strength. But we conveniently ignore the abyss that created them. Look at the Mahabharata. Arjuna didn't receive the highest wisdom while he was sitting on a throne eating grapes. He received it in the middle of a battlefield, paralyzed by grief, surrounded by the very people he was terrified to lose. His greatness wasn't a result of his talent. It was a result of his crisis. This is the universal blueprint of greatness. Every hero follows a specific psychological arc, and the most vital part of that arc isn't the victory. It's the descent into the underworld. If you feel like you're in a dark place right now, congratulations, you've reached the trials phase of your own hero's journey. This is the part of the story where the old version of you dies so that a more capable version can be born. You can't skip this part. You can't negotiate with the process. You are currently in the middle of a transformation that is as biological as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's messy, it's painful, and it feels like the end of the world. But it's actually the only way to get wings. When you move from a state of panic to a state of purpose, your entire reality shifts. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective changes the chemistry of your brain. It takes you out of the reactive, survival-based amygdala and puts you into the executive, strategic prefrontal cortex. You stop being a pawn in your own life, and you start being the architect. You begin to see that your abyss isn't a pit. It's a portal. Every sleepless night, every betrayal, and every financial collapse is actually a data point. It's feedback telling you where your old systems were weak and where your new foundation needs to be built. You aren't losing time. You're gaining depth. The reason most people stay average is that they never let their struggles change them. They just wait for the storm to pass so they can go back to being the same person they were before. But you're going to use this. You're going to look at the wreckage of your current situation and realize that you finally have the raw materials to build something that actually lasts. You aren't just surviving this. You're mining it for the power that is rightfully yours. Now, let's talk about the actual return on investment for your trauma, because every struggle you've endured has a specific measurable value. We usually view things like poverty, betrayal, or loneliness as bad luck. But in the world of high performance, these are actually high-level certifications. Take poverty, for example. People think being broke is just a lack of money. But if you've actually lived it and come out the other side, you realize it was a masterclass in resourcefulness. There are billionaires sitting in boardrooms right now who would pay millions of dollars to have the grit, the hunger, and the figure-it-out DNA that you developed when you didn't have a safety net. You learned how to stretch a dollar, how to negotiate, and how to survive on nothing but pure willpower. That is a competitive advantage that can't be taught in an MBA program. You have a hidden curriculum that the privileged will never understand. When you finally get to the top, you won't be soft. You'll be dangerous because you know exactly what it's like to have nothing to lose. The same applies to betrayal. We treat heartbreak like a wound, but it's actually an accelerated course in human psychology and discernment. If you've been stabbed in the back, you now have a radar for BS that is sharper than any professional profiler. You've learned the nuances of manipulation, the red flags of character, and the hard truth about who people really are when things get difficult. That betrayal bought you the wisdom to never let it happen again. It turned you into a better leader, a better partner, and a better judge of character. And what about loneliness? That feeling of being totally isolated is the only place where true self-sufficiency is born. When there's no one to lean on, you're forced to find out how strong your own spine actually is. Loneliness is where you meet yourself. It's where you stop looking for external validation and start building internal sovereignty. These aren't just life experiences, they are assets. They are the hidden ROI of your pain. You've been paying the tuition for years. It's finally time to start collecting the dividends and using that knowledge to dominate your future. Stop resenting your past and start auditing it. Look at your scars and realize they are actually credentials you are uniquely qualified for. Your specific mission precisely because of the things that tried to destroy you. If you've suffered from anxiety, you have a PhD in the inner workings of the mind. If you've failed a business, you have an edge over every person who's been too afraid to even try. Your struggle is your unique selling proposition. It's the very thing that makes people trust you, follow you, and listen to you. We don't follow people who have had easy lives. We follow the people who have been through hell and brought back the map. You are currently drawing that map. Every tear you've shed and every no you've received is just more ink for the story that's going to inspire thousands of people. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You are the beneficiary of a brutal, elite education that most people wouldn't have the heart to survive. You're still here, which means you passed the test. Now it's time to take everything you've learned and turn that wound into wealth. To do this, you need a tactical tool to extract the wisdom from your scars. I want you to try a framework called Wound to wealth extraction. Think about your hardest, darkest experience, the one you usually try to forget. Now, stop asking why it happened and start asking, what strength was I forced to develop because of this? If you were bullied, maybe you developed a fierce protective instinct for others. If you were overlooked, maybe you developed an unstoppable work ethic to prove your worth. When you identify the specific skill or trait that was forged in that fire, you realize that your deepest wound is actually your greatest advantage. It's the thing that makes you you. It is your superpower in a world of people who are pretending to be perfect. Your vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's your bridge to other people. It's the reason you can lead, teach, or build something that actually matters. You aren't qualified to help people because you're perfect. You're qualified because you're repaired. A bowl that has been broken and mended with gold kintsugi is more valuable and beautiful than one that was never broken at all. We have to understand that the most profound wisdom in human history wasn't shared in moments of comfort. It was shared because someone was broken enough to listen. Go back to Arjuna on that battlefield. He was at his absolute lowest point, ready to give up, and it was only in that state of total surrender that he was able to receive the Bhagavad Gita. His brokenness was the opening. The same is true for you. If you weren't broken right now, you'd be too busy or too arrogant to hear the truth. Your pain has made you quiet enough to finally hear your purpose. It has stripped away the ego and the superficial goals that were never going to satisfy you anyway. This moment of failure is actually a moment of profound clarity if you're brave enough to see it that way. You are being cleared of the old so that the new can take root. You are being prepared for a weight of glory that the old version of you couldn't have carried. This is a collective movement of resilience. You aren't alone. You're surrounded by a tribe extracting their own survival gifts. Go to the comments and share one strength you gained from your hardest moment. By voicing it, you stop being a victim and become a witness to your own power. You've survived 100% of your worst days. That's your fuel. The world doesn't need people who had it easy. It needs those who've been through the fire and can lead the way out. Your dark moment wasn't an end. It was an upgrade. Now, go show us what that looks like.